A brand new big budget comedy film with big stars is hitting cinemas this weekend. And the biggest question you guys all want to know is this movie even funny and worth the watch at the cinemas? Let's find out in the review. Welcome back, film fans. This is Brad from Let's Be Real with Brad, and today on the channel, I want to talk to you guys about the brand new romantic adventure comedy film called The Lost City. The Lost City is directed by Aaron and Adam Nee, and it stars Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, Daniel Radcliffe, Divine Joy Randolph, and Brad Pitt. This film is about a reclusive romance novelist on a books tour with her cover model who gets swept up in a kidnapping attempt that lands them both in a cutthroat jungle adventure. So I'm gonna keep it real with you guys. I was not excited to see this movie whatsoever, and it was solely based on the marketing, as the posters for this movie are so bad and so unprofessional that I can't believe a big studio like Paramount made a poster like this. And the trailers for this movie were very unfunny. They were just so awfully put together, and it adds that annoying and cringeworthy Cake by the Ocean song that has been in so many movie trailers in the past like 5 years that I just can't take this song anymore. It's so annoying. Last Saturday night, I got an early access screening to this film with a massive crowd of a bunch of people who really wanted to see this movie, and it was very evident because they were laughing at almost every single joke in the movie, which I was really annoyed by. But to my surprise, this movie was surprisingly a lot better than I thought it was going to be. The Lost City is a comedy movie that you know everything about it going into the movie if you have seen the trailer, but it is also the type of movie that has big stars that have great chemistry with each other and that carry this movie, because without them, this movie probably wouldn't have been as good. And I think that they are the brightest points of the film, like Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, who I do think have some pretty good chemistry with each other. The biggest praise I can give this film is that this is a big budget original comedy film that is coming to cinemas in 2022. With so many wide release films just being based off of an existing IP property, or it's a sequel, reboot, and remake, it's really nice to see a big budget comedy film that we haven't gotten in such a long time. The most surprising aspect about this film has got to be the romance, as this movie is marketed solely as an adventure comedy film that you would come to expect to see at a movie theater. But the romance in this movie was quite surprising, which it shouldn't have been because it's about a romance novelist, but I found the romance in this movie to be quite sweet and genuine at times. Another strong aspect about this film has got to be the humor here, as I did find many of the jokes to be pretty funny for the most part. Even though I wasn't necessarily laughing my butt off in the movie theater, in my mind I was like, hey, that's pretty funny. This is the type of comedy film that you don't want to see a trailer for, because I do think the trailer for this movie ruins quite a bit of the jokes here. Unfortunately, this movie has a ton of negatives here, and the first one we're going to talk about is something we were just talking about, which is the humor, as I did find many of the jokes in this movie just to not work. I know comedy is subjective and many people are going to laugh at every single scene in this movie, and if you laughed at every single scene in this movie, I'm really glad you did, because that is the power of cinema, the power of humor. But I found this film to have such mediocre writing, with most of the jokes to be quite flat and uninteresting. They just feel like they're super duper safe for a mass audience to enjoy. Speaking of the mediocre writing, the screenplay for this film is outright average and sometimes just bad, because this movie just thinks its audience is really stupid and not smart enough to know what's going on, as all the characters in this movie spell out everything. And the last negative I have with this movie is that this movie can be really boring, especially in the second act of the movie, where it feels like nothing is even happening, as the first act of this movie is probably the strongest because it moves quickly, we're understanding who our characters are, and it gets right into the adventure. But then when we finally get there and we're hanging out with our main characters, it just feels like there are just a collection of scenes that are all compiled together of, hey, let's see Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum's character do this. Oh, let's see him do something else in this scene. It never feels like our characters are ever any danger, or even feels like these scenes need to happen in this way, as most of the scenes could have just been flip-flopped and not a lot of it would have changed. Overall, guys, The Lost City is a very typical generic comedy film that does exactly what it needs to be, with a few laughs along the way, with some pretty good performances and a surprising amount of romance that made this movie watchable. If you're already excited to see this movie, then go check it out with the friends and family that you want to see this movie with, because I think you're gonna have a great time. I am giving The Lost City a 6 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for checking out this review. As I want to know below in the comment section, what is your favorite type of comedy genre film, as there are so many different comedies out there. I can't wait to hear about those. But before you guys check out this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like if you want to, and ring that notification bell so I can see you all in the following video.